How you doing, family? I hope everyone is doing well and staying healthy. Today we're doing blue crab, sugar crab. This one is for all my West Indian people. This is my crab soup, or Oildown as you may know it as. Keep watching and I'll share the entire recipe with you. Thank you guys for joining me on Caribbean Ducks. Remember, if you're new to the channel, please like, share, and subscribe. Glad you can be here. Now we're gonna get started with these beautiful blue crabs, also known in the Caribbean, in Guyana, and the West Indies as Sheriga crab. And I'm gonna show you how I clean it up. This is the way you hold it so you don't get pinched by the tentacles. And this is how you clean it up. You go in with a shear and cut them right down the middle. And then I snip off the ends of the legs. And that helps with two things. It helps clean up the crab, and it also helps to create an opening so all the seasoning and the ingredients will penetrate and flavor your crab meat even more. And now we're gonna wash with some lemon juice and take out everything that's not needed here. We drain it off, and then we're going with some green all-purpose seasoning Caribbean blend. Give it a nice toss. Now that everything is coated well, I'm gonna bag it up and I'll put it in the refrigerator to marinate and absorb all those wonderful seasoning. And don't forget those leftover seasoning, just drizzle it right on top. Don't waste it. Now the next day, I'm gonna prepare my coconuts. As we're using fresh ingredients here, so some of the stuff will come right out of the backyard. We're gonna crack our coconuts and take them inside. Here's our breadfruit that's peeled and cut up into large chunks. These are some scallions, some celery, parsley, and cilantro. Gotta have thyme. These are some dried thymes. And these are the broadleaf thyme, also known as pudiana or Spanish oregano. Now one of our key ingredients to making this Oildown is our bhaji. This is the Jamaican callaloo, or chowrai bhaji as you may know it as. Gonna get quite a few of those. And this is what it looks like. Now I'm gonna go to the backyard and I'm gonna get edo leaves. Now edo leaves are a little bit smaller than the dasheen leaves that you're used to, and you can always identify it with that little red dot in the middle. So edo leaf doesn't have all those enzymes that itch your mouth as dasheen, so we can cut up the whole leaf and eat it up. So now we have garlic, pepper, onion, celery, and our corn, along with some cut into about little 2 inches pieces, just like this, and set it to the side. And now for our edible leaf, we're just gonna cut out the main stem. Since this doesn't have all the enzyme that itches your mouth, just the main stem we remove. And then I fold it up and cut it into small pieces to ensure that everything cooks well. So we got here about a cup and a half, and this is our Jamaican callaloo, or chaurai bhaji. I got about the same amount here as the yellow leaf, and I'm just gonna chop everything up into small pieces as well, because the idea here is to have everything cooked down into a nice, smooth, rich soup. So we want it to cook well and cook fast. So here we have it. Everything is all chopped up and prepared to set aside and ready to go. Now here's one of our secret ingredients. This is my annatto from the yard that I'm gonna incorporate in the soup ingredients. And this is how we get it. Just open that heart out the shell. There's a thin little membrane, and then we remove the seeds from that little membrane and get a nice collection here. So we have about 3 tablespoons of seeds. Now I'm going in with some hot water, and we're gonna allow that to release all those flavors and colors. And this is our coconut that we grate in here that we're gonna milk. This is how I'm doing it the old-fashioned traditional way. I just find this more satisfying to do it the old way. Add some water, and we're gonna massage it and squeeze that pulp until we get all those milk out of there. After we extract all the milk, we just toss the rest of it to the side. That's gonna go to the chickens. And now we strain. So I managed to get about 2 cups of coconut milk. And for extra flavoring, I'm going in with some lemongrass, fresh lemongrass from the yard. We're gonna use the white part. And the leaves, I'm gonna save for tea. So you wanna go with your back of your knife or something heavy just to crush them so they can release all those flavors. And just pound them. Give it a stir here. This is our annatto. So after a few minutes of sitting in that hot water, we give it a few stir. And now we're ready to get all that goodness out of it. Just strain it, get it ready for the soup. Now we're gonna go in with some olive oil. About 2 tablespoons of olive oil. We're gonna go in with all our green aromatics and seasonings and allow that to sweat out and release all those flavor into the oil. This will take just a few minutes, and we add our coconut milk. And the aroma here, I tell you, is magnificent. Add our bhaji spinach. Now we're going with our carrots. At this point, if you have pumpkin, you can go with pumpkin also, or sweet potatoes. I'm just going in with the carrots. We're keeping it light. Some peppers and salt. And we're gonna let this cook for about a couple of minutes until it reduces. So the idea for this soup is to make a nice, thick, rich, creamy soup when all the spinach and callaloo melt down. So now we're going with our corns. I shredded some of the corns and some of the chopped whole corns going in. Gonna add a few cups of hot water to continue the cooking process. And we're going to go with the content of 1 packet of the Grace cock soup mix. And keep in mind that this mix also have salt, so be mindful of the amount of salt that you're going to add to your pot. Give it a nice stir. And let it simmer. Our crab is sitting on the side, well seasoned and ready to go in. So we're gonna give it a nice stir here after about 10 minutes, and we'll watch how everything is starting to cook. And the aroma is unbelievable with all the lemongrass and all the aromatics and fresh ingredients. So now we're gonna go in with some pimento berries. These are the allspice berries. About 8 to 10 berries goes in there to add to the layers of flavor. Yes, guys, this is gonna be so flavorful and rich. Give it a nice stir and cover it down to simmer some more. So now this is our breadfruit that's been peeled and cut up into large chunks. And we're getting ready to add that in as well. So now I forgot to mention that I added some more coconut milk to this pot as it was thickening and the liquid was being evaporated. I added about 1.5 cups more of coconut milk. And we add our breadfruit. Make sure everything is submerged so that it cooks. And this is what our soup is starting to look like, guys. It's starting to evaporate some more, so I added about 1 cup of water. And that is to ensure that everything becomes very well cooked. I want my breadfruit to be cooked and be smooth and buttery. And I want all my spinach to be melted. So overall, this is about after 30 minutes of cooking on a medium heat. And we're gonna test our vegetables to make sure that they cooked, and our breadfruit is cutting like butter, and that's ready. So we're done here. We'll taste for salt and add if you need any more. Now our crab can go in because the crab cooks very rapidly. We're going with that towards the end. And we're basically gonna let this cook for another 5 to 10 minutes before cutting off the heat. As you can see, the crab is being cooked very fast and it's changing color. It's gonna turn into a nice red color. As soon as it gets into the heated pot, it's gonna change color and cook. So that doesn't take long. As you can see here, it turns red. We want to submerge that into that coconut gravy with that lemongrass infused so it can absorb everything. Now we turn the heat down to low and cover it. Let it simmer for about 5 more minutes. And this is it, folks. Our crab soup oil down is almost ready to be plated. There it is, guys. We're getting ready to plate. And this is optional. I added a handful of noodles inside the soup. Instead of using dumplings, I use a handful of macaroni pasta. Gives it body, thickens up the soup as well. And this is it, folks. Our crab soup, or crab oil down as you may call it. Very flavorful and tasty, delicious. Hope you guys like this recipe, and if you do, give me a thumbs up, leave a comment. God bless you. Thank you for joining me. I'll see you on the next video.